It has always been a dream of mine to have my own library of books, enough to someday rival Belle's Library and Disney's Beauty and the Beast. A girl can dream. When I got back into reading voraciously a few years ago, I started with collecting my first love, historical romances. Thanks to library sales and thrift stores, for the most part, I was able to build my collection of old favorites, new discoveries, and all the beautiful clinch covers and stepbacks. However, my shelf space quickly filled up, and I may have gone a bit overboard. In 2025, the publishing industry announced it would no longer be printing the mass market paperback format, the primary format for historical romances. Sadly, amid other reasons, historical romances, once the trailblazer and shining star of romance for decades, has now been dwindling, at least with traditional publishing. Many authors are turning to other subgenres like romantasy or going indie. But I refuse to give up. I am determined to find old and new favorites. Instead of just collecting and storing these beautiful historicals and fully embracing my book dragon ways throughout 2026 and beyond, I will be reading through my historical romance collection in this reading vlog series called HEA or History. At the beginning of every episode, I will select a book by using a TBR jar, spinner wheel, or any other myriad of challenges. Please join me as I go off on an adventure by reading through my entire historical romance collection. Who knows? Maybe we will discover that historical romances aren't quite history. Welcome to the very first episode of HEA or History, which is my very own specific take on Read It or Unhaul It. It's all focusing on historical romance all the time. So this specific series, as I explained probably in my intro, hopefully editing Crystal was able to do something fun. Voiceover, we'll see how that turned out. But yeah, welcome to the very first episode of HEA or History, my very first take on a Read It or Unhaul It series focused entirely on historical romances. So I'm super excited about that. This will give me the great chance to be able to focus on all of my historical romances collections that I have, because it's my first love and I just want to read as much as I can, and this gives me the most motivation to do that. This will be as frequent as much as possible. My hope would be able to do one episode a month, so hopefully 12 episodes every year, continuing on not just this year but in the years to come, I'm sure, because it's going to take me some time, I'm sure, to get through all these. So of course the goal is to read 50 historical romances. That's my stretch goal. So in each of these episodes I'm going to try to read at least 5 historical romances at a time. However, the minimum is 3. We'll see how frequently I can get through these. We'll have different kind of challenges throughout the episodes that we'll do. Either we will focus entirely on a series, we'll focus on my TBR jar as we are in this instance, or we'll just do focusing on an author and just going through all those. So there's so many chances and opportunities and different games and ways to go about this, and I'm super excited about that. So for this episode, this is a follow-up from the January TBR. I will link that video down below, and in that TBR I chose some books from my TBR jar or ones that I have going on for read-alongs and such. So the first one that I'm going to be reading is Then Came You by Lisa Kleypas. This is a hate to love romance where the heroine is trying to protect her sister from the hero being an arranged marriage. She kind of intervenes, and so he comes back and gets back at her, and they kind of have like a love affair. It's very reminiscent, at least from the premise, of The Viscount Who Loved Me by Julia Quinn, which, as you may know is very popularized by the Bridgerton show on Netflix. I love the Bridgerton series. It's like my all-time favorite series from Julia Quinn, and probably really right up there just of all time. I've reread that series so many times, and I'm so excited that that has gotten really popular as well. Two totally different medias, of course, but I'm super excited to read this one. I'm interested in this one. I think I've read this one, as I probably mentioned before. This is most likely a reread for me. I do know that I read the second one in this series. So this is a first book in an interconnected standalone in the series, meaning I don't think you need to read them in order and necessarily to enjoy them. However, I can't help myself, and that's what we're gonna do. So yeah, this is my very first check-in, and we'll get started reading on this. I do have another couple that I will hope to read through this episode. The Quinn, Everything on the Moon, depending on the next three will just depend on my mood, on how I want to read. And so most likely Everything in the Moon from Julia Quinn. As I said, one of my all-time favorite authors. This one is The Second Chance. They have like a star-crossed lover kind of a situation, childhood friend lover situation that happens. I think there's a betrayal, and then she becomes a governess, and he tried, and I think they come back together and the whole thing. So interesting for that. And then we have a pirate romance, Night Secrets, and we have this, and then I think this one has, oh yeah, and that is the back of Everything in the Moon. And then with Cat, and then Night Secrets by Cat Martin. I think this is a pirate romance with a second chance as well. She has to touch the heart of the vengeful, embittered man, which the hero has become. So that whole thing. I think this starts out where she is a stowaway and on his ship that he is the captain of, and things just go from there, from my understanding. And I'm really, really interested in reading this. I know that this is a lot of people's favorites, that they enjoy it from my understanding, and I'm hoping to see what I think with this one. And then this one was recommended to me by Terry, a subscriber here on the channel, and I chatted with her too as well on Instagram. And I originally was going to read the proposal, but she actually directed to me to read for the full series experience of Mary Bollock. I know she does have a couple of standalones that I probably own as well that I do want to read from her as well. And so I'm going to try and read, not this one per se, I don't own it physically, but I think it's One for Love or whatever it is on here. So I will try to get that one from my library, either the ebook or audiobook, most likely the ebook. If they have it physically, I would like to get it from that as well, but we'll see whatever once we get to the stage of the vlog with this. I have chatted way too much already, and I will talk to you next after I have an update of reading Then Came You. Okay, we'll see how this is. Okay, so update. It's been a few weeks, almost a month, I feel like, at least 3 weeks since you probably saw the intro to this video. So update. So I read, I don't even have the copy here right now, but I read Then Came You. That was our first book, and that was 6 stars. Absolutely loved it. Just absolutely loved it. Totally reread. It totally clicked to me. So yeah, you didn't get much update. So I literally read that within a day, I think. Maybe, yeah, a day or two. I just didn't want to stop reading it because I just loved it. So that went by super, super fast. And yeah, so it was a 6 star. So the first book of the year and a historical romance, a reread, and 6 stars. So it really triggered a memory when it was talking about when she dresses up as Eve at the party. That scene I remember. I'm like, I did read this. It clicked for me. I'm just absolutely loved it. So I'm excited to read the second one because I remember Derek Craven. It's someone I can't remember how great it was. So I'm excited to read that one in February for the read along. So I'm so excited that they did a read along for Lisa Kleypas, or at least continuing on, because I definitely want to read more Lisa Kleypas, and she's usually always set for having a 5-star for me. I don't think there's a book from her that has been less than 5 stars. For sure has not been 3-star, let's just say that. So absolutely loved that. I just loved the heroine in that, and her strength, and the thing that she had to go through, and the secret that she was holding, and having to be so strong for that. And when her husband realizes it, and she was doing all of this because she was protecting or trying to help someone. So yeah, I don't want to give away too many details, but I just love that. So yeah, it's been rough. So read that book, loved it. But as far as for me, it's been rough because I went straight into that one and tried to read One Night for Love by Mary Balogh. And that's kind of like the prequel to The Slightly Married, which is on my TBR to read. That's my first book of hers that I own through that recommended reading order. And I didn't like it. So it was such a slog. It's what took most of the weeks since you've seen me was reading that book. I think it took me a historical romance at most. It'll take me 5 days if I'm working through a busy day, but like literally most of the time it's only taking me a couple of days to read. There's something about historical romances that I can just enjoy. Or maybe it's not even the time, it's just the fact that I'm just having a grand old time every time I'm reading them. But yeah, I enjoyed it. But I enjoyed the beginning of it, the interrupting of the wedding, but that was the only thing that I enjoyed. Everything else just seemed weird. She came off with like a Susie Q, very perfect heroine that is just so innocent and sweet, and it's just it came off, it gave me a little bit of an ick, a little bit, being so naive, and the hero had like no personality, so it's like he just felt like a wet blanket. So I really didn't enjoy that book, and so I DNF'd at 50%, and which is sad because it's my first time reading Mary Balogh, and unfortunately it wasn't the greatest experience. So I'm not sure now if I should continue on to the second in that prequel or just start with Slightly Married. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do. But anywho, besides, I'm just going to come back and circle back to that one. Hopefully read that, maybe take a break and start back in February. I might reach out to a friend and see if I need to, but I don't know. I think the second book in that is better, so we'll see. So maybe I'll try that again in February and continuing on that. I really want to get up to at least 5 books of historical romance for this vlog, at least. But with that said, so I had to read the fantasy book. I had to read Kissed by the Gods for our Mood Reader book club, so I took a break from historical romance to read that. Absolutely loved that one, so that was 5 stars. So if you're seeing this, it's after our other live show, so I will put that down there if you want to take a look at that. We had to reschedule too because I think for once I finished it before April, and so April didn't get a chance to finish it yet, so we're rescheduling that one. So I will put that live show below. So we just had to reschedule it until, instead of the Sunday, the Friday following. But I picked up and started, sorry, you can see I'm in my bedroom, so it's not glorious back here at all. But I started Night Secrets by Kat Martin. This one. I love this one. My physical copy, I started reading it on my Kindle because this copy, I've been reading it more at night in bed. And the other reason for that is I've just been, this whole month, my whole filming schedule has kind of gotten interrupted by myself, of course. But because of everything that's going on in the US, it just put me in a weird funk. So that's what happened. So I have just been super tired and super down, but I also started a new job. So I transferred to, I'm in a new department, so I got a new, I'm more into accounting, finance now, and just like everything, I joined in the very year end, which is year end is very, very busy period. So I joined at the perfect or not so perfect time. So that was been a bit of a chaos of a journey and learning and such like that. So I'm still a newbie into that, and coupled with the weather, with the kids being home, just like, it makes it hard to schedule these kind of things. So I'm in my room on my lunch break right now. So and then the other thing is it's been depressing, let's just say. Put me in a weird headspace and with everything that's going on. So it didn't feel like my hobby is that important compared to everything else. It just felt weird to pick this back up. And then it's also affected my reading. It's taken me so long. I've barely read. It took me a while to read a couple of chapters for this one, even though there's nothing wrong with it. My whole reading mood has changed. So I just been doing other things, like I've watched TV or watching the Am I the Asshole feeds or reels. Like, I don't know why, but I just like take me away from my problems, other world problems, and just the whole thing. So I've been watching, like, we restarted Bridgerton because my husband actually watched all the series with me, so we could watch season 4 with me. So he didn't watch season 3 with me originally. So he was interested in that. So I'm excited for season 4. And I did watch the Becoming Jane with the Jane Austen read along too. So we had that. In the midst of everything of this reading vlog, I also read the Sensibility book for our book there. So I think I've only finished 3 or 4 books so far. So it's been slow for January. Usually I have so much reading time, but with everything, my headspace hasn't been great. And also, obviously, the winter isn't great for mood. The seasonal thing anyway. But anyway, where am I in this? I borrowed the ebook. Well, I am just, if you're still keeping track with me, God bless you. But I am borrowed the ebook from my library. So I've been reading it on there too as well. I think I'm about almost 52%, I think is what it said. So I think I'm in the middle of like chapter 14 or something like that. So I'm about halfway through. So, yep. So that is this. And what is great about this one, it's a standalone as well. So I don't have to worry about trying to keep up with another series. I love historical romances and series, but yeah. So really enjoying this one. She grew up as a daughter of a tavern owner, and she's always had like a crush or longed for this captain who comes in. And one night he comes in and saves her. She has, she's older now, and saves her from this other guy trying to, assault her basically, that way. And so she thanks him and such like that, and they go, and she talks to him about he's going to go on to a trip to the Bahamas, which is like a 30-day trip. And she just has this zest for life, and that she just wants to be free and have this, like, being able to discover the world. And her dad isn't the greatest guy. He's a little bit, like, abusive and such like that. And he just sees her as a worker almost. And so she just wants freedom. So what she does, she sneaks onto the ship, dresses up as, like, a cabin boy, and hides down into the storage area for a few days, and gets discovered, and tries to hides one of them, because they all kind of know her, because they attend that tavern, and one of the shipmates like hides her for at least a day or so, but then she almost gets hit by like this, because it's during a storm or something like that, and like the thing almost fell, and she gets discovered that way. And so she's been forced to like stay in the captain's cabin and she's not allowed to go anywhere. She did convince the hero to let her help cook. She has to be guided there from. She's not allowed to go up above on the deck and things like that. And then he is going. Everyone assumes that he is, they're having relations, but he's actually, there's like a room next to his that like hidden behind a curtain that's where she's been staying. So they're sharing a room, but not like that. And so they almost have this like weird friendship, but has this beginning to feel attraction to her. And that actually started when he saw her before he left for Bahamas. So it's really cool to see that they have this like push and pull, but he's also like wanting to make sure that the consent is here as well, because when they kiss and things like that, things are happening. There's a lot of stuff that's going on too, as well as like someone seems to be sabotaging him and his ships. Might be a competitor, they're not sure. Based upon the scenes in here of the other person, I think it's probably a competitor. But when they do get to Bahamas, there's like a shipmate or one of the people there that is new to that ship and tried to attack her and that whole thing. So it caused that whole thing. Sorry, my son got me because it's time for lunch. Okay, to wrap it up, that's where I'm at. They do have relations on the way back, and in case she does have any repercussions, in case she gets pregnant, she's supposed to contact his brother. He's told his brother about her, and she's supposed to go gives a piece of paper with his address on it. And then so they have their goodbyes, and it's very kind of thing, because they're like, hey, this is no promises. And he was very upfront about that when they were together, that the sea is my life, and like there's no promises here. Very open and honest. And she's the same way, that she's like, okay, but I also want to be free. It's the same thing for me. He does drop her back off to the tavern and such like that. When they get back, they say their goodbyes, and then he goes and they travel. They're making their way, I think, to Asia, I think. I don't know where they were making to. I think it was China. I can't remember. They were making their way to the eastern side. They only make it up to, like, England because something happens. And some big storm that happens. And he gets injured and becomes very, very injured, and that he can't walk anymore. Basically, he almost died. And so the shipmates come back to her, and they find that, they tell her this, and so she's trying to make her way up there. Well, of course, she didn't have any means of money and things like that, but in the time that this was happening, her dad had passed away. He got run over by a carriage or something like that, and he actually was very smart in his investments and was actually wealthy. And so like that. So he made some smart investments and left her with some money. He left her the tavern. She leaves the tavern with her friend, but he left her with money and things like that. So that is where we're at. She's traveling. I'm at the part where she's at the house. She saw Marcus and met his brother. And now it's just, obviously Marcus is just depressed and doesn't want to see anyone. He's let himself go. He's not eating, staring out at the window and his estate in the country in England, and just looking out at sea. So that's the part where I'm at. So I'll let you know everything there. This was such a long update. This is hilarious how long this one was, but that's all the updates so far. That was everything. So we'll see how much far I can get with this one. So I've enjoyed it so far. I see this being like a 4 or 5 star, at least so far in the middle of this one. So I will see you in the next clip. Okay, so I did a thing. It is now Saturday. Oh gosh, what is today? Today's Sunday, March 22nd. And so it's been a while since my last check-in. And before I close out this vlog that's taking me basically a couple months to film, apparently. We're doing a quarter vlog, apparently. So you're welcome. I would show you guys a little bit of my historical romance section, and I'm doing a bit of some spring cleaning. It's been very rough these past few months, really, to be honest. That's why this thing is so long as well, but especially in March. Needless to say, I've been like mentally and just medically not well. So I've got shingles, and so the medication made me very messed up, and just the pain and such and things like that. So I'm recovering, doing well. But during this, a couple days ago, I just wasn't feeling comfortable in my own skin just because of the everything and such and that. So I just got this huge motivation to spring clean and unhaul. So all that to say is I have a bit of some reorg happening. And it's not done. I'm sure I will do a separate video where I'll go over doing my historical romance section, because I really want to really condense that. As part of this video whole series, the whole point is to read through my historical romances. I want to be able to go through and really curate this collection to my favorites, and especially with mass markets, going, as I said, this will help me to really kind of focus on that. I have so many bookcases, and while the main bookcase that I love here, which I'll show you. So this was in my master bedroom, and so the problem is it was in front of a window, and winter happened, and humidifiers happened, and so my concern was, of course, mold and mildew and ruining my books here from my historicals. So I went through, and I was feeling very anxious about it. And so I just went through. But out here in a living room, which is much drier and better, but it's a little bit more. I live in an apartment. I live in a 3-bedroom apartment. My books have to go somewhere. And so I'm going to be, my son reads a lot too, so this bookcase will eventually be going into in his room. But for now, it's acting like one of those sofa bookcases, because we have a huge chair here behind it. But this is still, as you can see, it's a little bit too tall. So I'm going to be getting one eventually that's going to be just the height. So just the height of this big, huge sofa, is basically a mini sofa or a 1.5 sofa chair to go there. And then I also right now have my TBR cart kind of here. So, and then we have my HEA. So this is where the historical romance ones are. I have to sort. Now, unfortunately, my love of fantasy romance is creeping in. I have my dark romances, and then my contemporary romances, and then my literary ones up there, like historical fiction and such. Problem is, it's a hodgepodge a little bit now, starting to turn that. So in order to make room, I have to do some condensing. I have high fantasy over here, so this is really our entryway. So it has the clothes, art stuff from my daughter and such. So, but the two here I'm sharing with my son with his library books, and then my fantasy. So I have some of my fantasy over by the TV stand as well. These are my YA, so all my YA is here and here. So I have all of my YA and then some high fantasy. Ideally, I would like to have my YA and fantasy be on just these two latter shelves to delve into fantasy and such like that. So I might have to also go through and really only narrow down those of what I'm really interested in. But needless to say, I'm going to have to. I like the way they are now, but I'm going to have to flip them to be on their sides eventually. So that video will come later where I go through and organize this to see how much I can fit of these onto there. So that's all that is. So today, these are all the ones that I've read and loved. So these are all the step backs for the Bridgerton series there. So these are ones I read and loved. These are the ones that I just are kind of in the background that I want to read, but I didn't make into the living room shelves because not as excited to read them, or I just have so many of the other ones. I wanted to focus on the other ones that year. Or I want to move Louisa James to my IKEA shelves as well. And some of these are just some very random books that I had picked up over the time. But either their premise sounds really good or interesting, and I'm interested in reading them. So today, I'm now that it's been a couple of days, and I'm feeling quote unquote back to normal. Now I'm okay, am I getting rid of these? So this one here and these ones were the ones that I was okay, I just need to get rid of these. I was feeling anxious about it in some form or another. I still think I'm going to get rid of these hardcovers. always wanted to keep these and I love them, but I just don't have the space, or I just want to keep my historical romance collection a little bit more reasonable, and that means focusing more on mass market or trade paperback ones, because as I mentioned, I do have some trade paperbacks ones here that are kind of there and down. So those were my trade paperbacks. So I just want, especially now that publishing isn't going to be doing mass markets anymore, I really just want to hone down that collection and keep the ones I can find. The only one that I'm really sad about and I really want to keep still is this one, because I don't have the mass market for these. So that's my only one that I'm thinking of still keeping, is my Johanna Lindsay's, because even though she hasn't been a favorite one yet, she's the one I'm still going through actually. And as I'm going through and reading her collection, if I find I don't like it, then I'm getting rid of it. So this one I could, because I think I do have a mass market. So if I have a mass market of her, I'm going to get rid of that hardcover version. And then this, I just went through some literary ones. I'm like, I don't need the duplicates, so I'm just trying to make space. So I think I'm going to get rid of my Jane Austen collection because I have the whole set there. I have another really pretty collection of Jane Eyre and a Barnes & Noble classic edition that I would rather read, and then this as well. So just trying to make more condensed decisions. So you can see all these. I'm kind of sad about that. Like I said, I'm more focusing on the mass markets as much as possible, and that is where I'm going to try to focus on, because these really don't have a lot of clinch except for these. So for sure I'm getting rid of these. Tender as the Storm is one, and Define Not the Heart is the ones I'm really don't want to get rid of. This one I have the mass market, so we're fine. And these ones I don't even know if I know these authors really, and I do have their mass markets, so that is why I'm like, okay, these ones I can go. This one is just so iconic. And I think the other, as you can tell, why I was so worried about it is I thought I want to make sure there wasn't any mold or anything like that. So this is a copy I just got, but I think there might be mold, so I don't know if that's mold or not. And that's what, yeah, right there. I don't know. This didn't happen here, if it is, because I just got it. So, and it wasn't out here. Sorry, it wasn't on here. It was already on here, on this. So it can't be that. So I don't want it to spread. You know that feeling. So if you know, that'd be great. Yeah, I was making decisions on this. I think these ones these were the ones that got a little bit, they did get affected. And luckily there's no mold yet, so that's why I was concerned. So they did dry out, having them dry out. But I think if I can find a better copy, I will. This one I don't know. I'm going to wait until I finish this series by Lorraine Heath. I'm going to finish that series and see if I will keep it, because again, I want to keep it to the ones, even if they're such a very prolific author and if I like a lot of their books, doesn't mean I have to keep all of their series, essentially. So that's kind of how I'll make my decision, is how I feel about the series. When I finish it, I'll unhaul it. And then this one, I'm going to keep for now. They look fine, except for this one is my only one, my Devil in Winter. It had slight discoloration. So I don't know if that is mold or not, so that's why I was concerned. I got a little there. Yeah, and these ones just got sun damage because that's where they were by the window too, so I was kind of mad at myself for that. So I am trying to do that, and this one got a little bit waterlogged. Of course, my all-time favorite, one of my all-time favorites, so I want to get a setback copy if I can. So I think that's where I'm going to focus, is getting the specific authors and specific titles of authors. So essentially being more intentional that way. But the rest of them, I showed those. So yeah, I think I might get rid of that one. So I think really the only one I want to keep that's a hardcover until I can get a mass market is Tender of the Storm, because that cover is freaking just iconic. I love it. So yeah, the rest that I have are here. I will probably just go, I don't mind my messy living room. I will probably just donate the rest of these back to the library, because that's really where I got these, was at library sales, which is great. I remember liking this one too, so that's why I grabbed that. So, Lions Lady. I wish I had the cover. I do own a different version of that one in mass market, so that one. Hearts of Pain, that's another one. I think I have the mass market in Silver Angel. So yeah, if I can ever find the mass markets of these, I will, but again, I still, even though they're OGs, I just want to also love them, you know? I don't know, I might keep this one or not, I don't know. I think right now I might, I don't know, you tell me. That is where I am concerned, so. And then the rest, so these ones are, I read these already, or I have a different version. So this one I have a better copy. I read this one and didn't like it, so I'm going to DNF this series. Didn't like this one. I'm going to give the second one of the series a try, but I might DNF that. This is the start of another series, so I didn't really like it as much. It was a 3-star, so I'm just going to get rid of it as well. And these ones I was reading back, and I didn't really sound that I wasn't sparking joy to read it, so getting rid of those. Same thing for The Bride. 3-star for me. It wasn't as much fun as I remembered. I love A Loving Scoundrel, but it's part of a series, and I feel like those series, it makes sense to read in order. I don't think I'm going to reread them again. This is so good, and I connected so much to the heroine, especially with her story with her mother and such. So yeah, that one really touched, but I don't think I'm going to read it again. Probably shouldn't, because it really makes me too emotional, but you know. Gentle Rogue, I love this. Again, I just don't think I'm gonna reread it again, even though it's an OG. It's not in the OG cover, it's a newer release one. And then this one I enjoyed, but I didn't like love. So I read that as part of the Ever Afterthon last year, The Captain of All Pleasures. I have a better copy for The Black Lion. Not interested anymore, and I read this one, and if I do a reread, we read this for our book club book. If I do read this, you have to read in order, so if I do reread, it's like a family saga. I don't know if I'll reread this one again. I just didn't like it. Yeah, my error for reading out of order, which is why I read in order for historical romance, but that's what we get. So yeah, so that is it. So this one, those ones I will donate to the library. I'm going to ask some people on the ones that I wasn't sure about if I should keep those ones or not. But yeah, so that's just a little bit of a sneak peek of this journey of reading through my historicals. You know, HEA or history, or HEA or an A. I don't remember what I'm calling this because I can't keep it right, apparently. So I don't know what I'm going to call this, but that's part of the journey, right, is going through all these and seeing ones I love, because I want to discover my personal library and things like that, so kind of cultivate those. So I'm excited. We'll go through those. I'm sure I'm going to do, like I said, a separate unhaul video, but for those ones specifically, you won't see those ones in that video. So all right, well, I'll catch you in the next clip. Okay, so I lied. Hi. It was late last night, so I forgot to show you guys this. So yes, this is my quote-unquote pile of shame in our bedroom. So this is where, it's on my dresser, so I just try to decide, what to do with these. So, for hauls and such. And I also have something, down here. It's, my books for some paranormal books and whatnot there. So that is what we have. So a lot of these are actually unhauls. So I have unhauls. I haven't filmed the unhaul here. This I still have to post on Pango. I did the unhaul. I've just posted those. So they'll be on the next one when I do film the other unhaul. So these are the historicals that I just need to find room for. So that whole point of the IKEA thing is I need to get room for it. And then I have a couple of books off the side here for a haul as well. So I haven't been hauling as much, obviously, for 2026, but I just have a couple. And that's why this is the staging area. But I would like to, get rid of these, essentially. So that's the plan. So yeah. Hope you enjoyed this a little extra clip as well. Alright, so I think we're finally going to close out this vlog. This never-ending first vlog. See how I do this one. Okay, so I think I don't know if where I left off, but I think where I left off was finishing up Night Secrets. I finished this one. I think this is going to be probably a 3-star for me. So yes, yeah. Very epic feeling. Nothing really inherently wrong with it. It just was, I don't know, I think, to be honest, it was a hero. I just didn't like the fact that he wasn't really yearning as much as the heroine, and she gave up so much for him, and when he was hurt and she took care of him and he recovered, he still didn't have his come to Jesus moment, and he just kind of like, it took too long for him to decide. And even then, when he did decide, it felt like she was an afterthought in like a possession or something like that. So I don't know, I didn't love this as much. I wish I did. I love the step back, that's great. Good, just not great. And this one I will definitely, it's going to be history, so I'm going to, as we're doing this HEA or NA or history, I still can't decide. I don't even know what I call this one, so this is going to be very comical at this point in time. But yeah, this one is going to be an unhaul, so I'm going to definitely unhaul this one. It's going to be history, and we're going to say nay, history, whatever, all of the above. So this one, yeah, I will be getting rid of this one. And then I think the other one is, I don't even know if I did any clips of this one. I read it, to be honest, I read it so fast. Because it's Lisa Kleypas. I mean, it's like one sitting and you're done. But anyway, I read Dreaming of You. Oh my gosh. Can we just say it's a 6-star? Obviously, it's Derek Craven. So yes. I totally forgot. Okay, without any context, my wife... I just love that the heroine as well had glasses, and I just loved the fact that he just kept on stealing her glasses and like it's on the memento. Yeah, this was in her, the way that she was interacting with his staff, with his butler, and how they just took to her as just, you know, as part of one of them, and just such warm and feeling like that. And then also the feeling of like a second chance feeling, because they were separated, and that whole part, I was just kicking my feet when they're together, like coming back, and like all of the little tension is like, oh, are they coming back together or not? And like, will Derek allow himself to be with her? And then of course that whole big scene with the fire and things like that. So that was so intense. I have to say the only character I really didn't like was his like competitor guy. I didn't like the fact that he like left her high and dry in the carriage with the mom. That was really, really, really crappy. So there's like the most chaotic catch-up summary clip for that book. But Derek Craven Day was in February too as well, so I read that back in February. Oh gosh, wow, it's been almost 3 weeks, guys. So I'm whole behind on this whole thing. This is just very, very hilarious for that, but here we are. We're here. If my memory serves, if all of my clips that I have done, I will put all the books I have read in this vlog, because it's late at night and I can't even remember right now. So that is how chaotic that is. 2 6 stars. I mean, Lisa Kleypas, yes. I'm really disappointed in the Mary backlog. That's really sad, but you know, that is what it is. I will definitely try that. But overall, I think I read 5 books. Future Crystal, Editing Crystal will know we're here. That's the first one, right? So this is the first. I was hoping to do this every other month, so we'll see. This might be a quarterly thing depending on how I'm able to do everything, but as you know, especially I think the next one will be focusing on in May. So all of my reads that I read for historical romance, we'll have that as our HEA or history, or HEA or NA. I still, you know, patent pending. Series pending name. So yes, that's it. So I think this is a very interesting journey that I'm going to be going on with this whole series. Next one is going to be in May. I'm going to go work through that. I think that will be a really fun episode to just go through And I think that's primarily just going to be my TBR cart, to be honest. So I think that's a lot of where my selections will fall into. I think they'll kind of fall into a Raptorathon too there. So I think that'll be a really great start, at least majority of those. So I think I have a couple of trade paperbacks that might work as well, that I've been wanting to get to. But yeah, for the most part, I think that's going to be a TBR cart for May. This vlog didn't go as expected because of all the things that happened, and so now I feel I'm, as an update, as just as a check-in, I am doing much better now. So I'm glad to feeling better, getting off of those medications. In the middle of, so recovering from that, so I'm glad for that. I'm also just in the midst of finalizing, finally, getting all the gang together for the Raptorathon. As you're seeing this, that's where I'm doing all that. The links, working on the links right now, I think, mainly the Discord and such like that. So a little sneak peek, that's what I'm working on. I'm excited for you guys to see who your co-hosts are and your teams and things like that for the Raptorathon. So that'll be coming in April. This is definitely something new to me with experimenting this. Let me know down below in the comments if you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see any kind of specific, I don't know, a specific theme for this reading vlog. If I want to focus on a shelf of my historical romances or an author, things like that, let me know. If we can do it for the one following in May, I will definitely love to implement that for you guys. So yeah, next one's going to be for May, and then the one after that, who knows? That's up to you guys. All right. Well, as always, I'll have my links down below in the description box, including my Instagram, my Goodreads, and bookish wishlist. And don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be notified for every time I post, so you can be notified when I post the newest episode in the series. Alright, well, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.